You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is 3/26/21. Well, as you're probably aware, there is an exodus taking place from many cities, especially New York City. Hundreds of thousands of people have fled. But interestingly enough, according to an article I read today, you're fleeing not to other states for the most part. At least this is true for younger professionals. You're fleeing around 15 to 30 miles away from these urban areas, these epicenters of decay, of disorderliness, of lawlessness, all these things. Are you one of those people fleeing? I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to hear your story. So just send me an email to kl@kerrylutz.com. Well, Andrew Ragusa is with me now. He's a real estate professional from Long Island. We're going to get the bird's eye ground view of what exactly is going on there, Andrew, and it's great to have you back on. So what's with people fleeing New York City? You still getting an influx of potential buyers from the city?
Well, the wintertime has always been the slowest market in real estate, traditionally. But this year, it's extra slow because there's just no inventory. We were taking buyers out a little after the holidays to take a look at properties. But at this point, a house goes on market, it's gone in 3 days. It's got accepted offers and everything like that. So it's pretty much impossible to find people's stuff.
That's amazing. And it doesn't matter the quality of the house or the condition or how many rooms, or if it's not exactly what the buyer wants, they just want out, right?
Yeah, I mean, as long as the price is reflective of that, like nobody's still gonna overpay by a ridiculous amount. They are overpaying, without a doubt. But overpaying is kind of an argument in either direction. They say it's all about the laws of supply and demand. So if the market is willing to pay a certain amount, and yes, it's considered more than it was previously, but if that's what the market's willing to pay, then you could argue whether or not they're overpaying, right?
Yeah, I suppose. But you're seeing more houses than ever go at or above asking price?
Yeah. Yes, that's right. But I do notice that there are some people who go on market and they have some sort of wild idea. They're like, you know what, I'm going to put my house on market $75,000 to $100,000 more than it should be. And they still sit on market. I'm still seeing people having to do price reductions and get to that sweet spot number in order to generate attention. And then people will grab it.
All right. So the market in some ways is the same, but in other ways it's different. There's obviously people aren't willing to grossly overpay, but somewhat over asking. You're seeing bidding wars and such?
Definitely. The most popular property right now is obviously fully renovated, needs no additional work. Although personally, in 6.5 years of being in business, every client I've sold to at this point, I've sold over 70 houses. They've all renovated and changed something. I've never seen somebody buy a house and not change it. But still, the most popular house being sold is the completely move-in ready turnkey properties. That's where you get the bidding wars like well over 25, 30,000 over.
Wow. That's pretty remarkable. Have you ever seen anything like that in your career before?
No. No, I haven't.
And you're out in Long Island, correct?
Yes. Nassau and Suffolk County. I even go into New York City. In fact, I sold 2 mixed-use buildings in Brooklyn that went under contract last year, in I think September of 2020. And even on those properties, which is, I think they were investors who bought it, but they went over $100,000 over appraisal value. So it was just completely unexpected, to be honest with you. And those 2 properties were on market for a year.
Right. So that's pretty shocking. So what trends you seeing here? Do most of these people, do they have children or desire to have children? What's the family status of most of your buyers?
Most of the people I'm seeing are younger couples trying to take advantage of the fact that rates are so low. What's unfortunate that I don't think they're noticing, but I think realtors definitely notice is that, they might be paying $500,000 for a house at a 2.75 interest rate. So their monthly payment, I'm just going to throw a number out there, is $3,000. Well, last year that interest rate was, maybe 4%, and they're paying maybe $100,000 less, and it was still the same monthly payment. So that savings wasn't seen, is what I'm getting at, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. So I guess it just kept the affordability level the same, the interest rates, because prices have obviously gone up dramatically.
Yeah, that's definitely the case.
Yeah. So now you're getting ready for the main buying season, spring. That's kind of buyer season, selling season in the Northeast. You seeing any kind of activity to indicate what the season's going to be like?
Don't just survive, thrive. The Financial Survival Network.
Today's show is brought to you by Mistango River Resources. Their flagship projects are located in Kirkland Lake, an established gold camp that has historically produced over 70 million ounces of gold. The Kirkland West project is a high-grade gold project beside Kirkland Lake Gold's world-class Mikasa gold mine, one of the highest-grade mines in the world. The Umeja project is an advanced stage project with 600,000 plus ounces of gold along the Cadillac Break, 25 kilometers east of Mikasa. Their projects have the potential to transform into another world-class mining camp in the Kirkland Lake District. Make sure you go over to Mistango.com. That's Mistango.com. Take a look and sign up for notifications. Stock is traded on the Canadian Stock Exchange, ticker symbol MIS. For more information and to sign up for notifications, go to Mistango.com.
This is the Financial Survival Network, the information you need to thrive now more than ever.
Well, yeah, personally, I have a few clients who have reached out to me and said, let's get on market around end of April. And they're looking, basically mid-spring. And then myself, I've personally gone to real estate auctions, which now have reopened, and the sheriff is selling off foreclosures that have been held some of them since 2018. So I'm hopeful that there's going to be an injection of properties now at this point, which should cool off some of this craziness as far as the, constantly being outbid. People are really struggling to get a property, but I don't see it going to, being enough that, the prices are going to start going below ask. I think they'll probably just sit around ask.
Hey, so when you talk to these people and, they're telling you we're looking for a house, whatever, do they share with you why they're moving or why they're looking to move?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got a lot of different motivating factors. I mean, a lot of people tell me that, they want space, they want privacy. A lot of people are saying remote work has now become a permanent part of their life. They're fully remote. That's a thing that a lot of people tell me is that they're not going to have to commute back to Manhattan. A lot of people were telling me they were commuting to downtown Manhattan specifically, and now that's just not the case anymore.
Right.
So with that being said, they're opting for space. And it's funny too, because I have some people, for example, I relocated a lot of doctors and surgeons. I think that was the case too, because they are, essential workers, right? So they were getting great loans. Doctors, I don't know if people are unfamiliar, but physicians get great incentives on their loan. They get to borrow large amounts of money without having to pay PMI payments, and they can use lower down payments than most. It's just an incentive for being a healthcare worker, being a doctor. And I'm relocating these doctors, and they're coming out from Manhattan, and they were working in John Hopkins or just major hospitals in Manhattan. And they come out from Long Island, and now I'm getting calls from them. I've gotten calls from at least 4 people already saying, I want to go back. I want to go back to the city. And they say to me, can we sell my house and make a profit? And I'm saying to them, unfortunately, because you paid so much for it, you got to wait at least a year, maybe 2 years, and see where it goes. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of remorse.
Yeah, the old buyer's remorse. Here you spend big bucks for a house and you miss the hustle bustle of the city. But there are also people moving because of the disorder taking place and safety concerns, right?
Absolutely. That was why they left in the first place. I mean, when you ask them, they told us, they said, well, they told me specifically, they say, I didn't want to live in Manhattan to be confined into a small space And now that basically businesses are closed, the nightlife is not what it was, the entertainment life is not what it was. Even the streets are not the same as they used to be. So with that being said, they're all looking to relocate. And I think that's where that remorse comes into play as well, because that wasn't the lifestyle they were opting for. And now they're forced to just move because of poor management.
Yeah, pretty remarkable. And there's nobody really on deck there in New York who is a Giuliani and has the ability, the desire, and the strength of person to actually turn things around. At least I don't see that person. There's a guy who's got to break some eggs to make an omelet, and everybody else there is making souffles.
I agree. I hope something happens at some point. I'm a firm believer. I think that there's going to be, if you notice right now, there seems to be a really strong wave of action that's leaning very left. Right. So there's this big wave of action that's on the left side political spectrum. And I think it's so extreme that it's probably going to cause an equal opposite reaction in the future, because it's just too far from the norm that a lot of people were living in. So I'm hopeful New York City turns around. At one point it had Republican leadership. So we'll see, right?
Yeah, well, this is a family show. We don't really talk about politics, but many of you in New York, like me in the past, have voted with your feet, say, I don't need the expense. Like restaurants are great, what few you have left, and museums are wonderful, those that aren't reduced to selling off their art collections. But you know what? I'll take the warm weather, the low taxes, no state income tax, and your moronic legislature there, all they can think about is raising taxes at the worst possible moment that will drive even more people out of New York. And hey, even Nassau County, while it might be, or Suffolk for that matter, might be lower cost than living in Midtown Manhattan, it still is no cheap place to live. I lived in Westchester County, and we had the honor of having the highest real estate taxes in the United States. So
congratulations.
It was a real privilege. And, I just said, I am just tired of having a dollar sign on my back, a target on my back for these politicians to soak. And I just don't want to be here anymore. And I left. And hundreds of thousands of people over the years have done it. And now you see big Wall Street companies doing it. And this is New York's future unless somebody steps in and the people rise up and decide to change it. But I don't see much hope of that now. Well, in any event, if people want to find out more about you, Andrew, and connect with you on the web, where should you go?
Yeah, sure. They can go to REMI agency.com, and they can pull up my website, my phone number, everything's on there.
All right, excellent. And hey, if you got any questions for Andrew, just send me an email. I'll forward them off to him, kl@kerrylutz.com. And make sure you sign up for our free newsletter on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Andrew, a pleasure speaking with you again, and good luck.
Thank you. A pleasure being here.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.